This is so cool. Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm a film photographer based out of Salt Lake City, and I'm documenting some trips that I took to national parks and other places all across the U.S. Mostly here close to Utah, but you know, lots of little places that I decided to shoot film and take photos. The first trip I took was Canyonlands. I decided to get out and do vlogging just because I wanted an excuse to, you know, be a little bit of a personality. I've been behind the camera for a long time, for a long part of my career, and I've really been wanting to document my travel and progress as a film photographer. But yeah, it was just a little day trip, and then I hopped up like the next day after doing a crazy amount of hiking with a dumb amount of gear in my bag and walking around the Canyonlands. Two cameras I shoot on the most. This is my main one, my GL690. I love it. It's my 6x9 medium format. I get 8 shots per roll. It's really expensive, really dumb to shoot, but the negative size I get out of it is incredible. The resolution I get out of it is incredible. And then I pair this with my EOS 3. Typically I run it when I'm traveling with either a 24-105 f4 or a 40mm 2.8 Pancake, which is actually about the same focal length equivalent. This camera on the stock 100mm lens will give you roughly a 42mm equivalent on full frame because it's like a reverse crop because you're a bigger negative. So that is kind of my go-to focal length for the year. I've shot a lot on 40 and then roughly 42 on this guy. I don't have it with me, but the EOS 3 with Pancake lens on there, I call a big point and shoot because the lens is a Pancake. It's really, really small, and you'll see some of the footage later, but it's kind of a travel compacty kind of thing on a body that has better autofocus than most point and shoots. You know, you have your higher end point shoots that can probably get a little closer to it, but for what it is, it's kind of the best technology of the film era. I picked mine up for like 125 bucks on a crazy eBay deal, and then I picked the lens up for 100 bucks. So you're really only a little. My camera stopped recording, and that's super cool of you, Fuji, to do that to me. I don't remember where I was. I'm just gonna jump in again to my secondary camera I don't have with me here is actually an EOS 3, and I basically use it as a big point and shoot. I like using that to just blast through a roll of 135 and with a lot more creature comforts than what I have with this, because this is like the full manual experience. You know, you own your mistakes, you have to meter everything perfectly, you have to really be on top of your exposure when you're shooting with something like this, just because of how expensive it is to shoot. And with an EOS 3, you know, I can run a budget stock like gold or a cheaper kit beer or something like that, and still get a decent usable result. It won't print as well as this because this is for printing, truly. But it's nice to have those two kind of things to compare and contrast. I also have my digital that I'm shooting the video on right now, which it still gives me great images. I do stuff with that all the time, but not as much as I like shooting on these. These are, you know, my bread and butter, my tried and true tools that I do like to make stuff with. So I made my way down to Moab and found a decent little car camping spot on Airbnb. I'll put a link in the description below to the spot because it was actually a really cool little listing. It was only $35 when I got the spot. That night I actually set up some long exposure shots that I unfortunately botched.
I'm trying to be quiet while I do this, but I'm gonna set up a long exposure because the moon's out and star trails should be pretty cool.
The car camping spot behind me, I had a big mountain that had like a reverse S shape like that, and then Polaris was going to be in like camera, like just out of frame to the camera right, so the star trails were going to be like streaking directly into the mountain. So I thought it would have been a really cool shot. Unfortunately, I did not put this camera in bulb mode. And if you forget to put your camera in bulb mode, what happens when you have a cable release is it'll fire the shutter, and that shutter will just fire. And that's what you get. Unless it's in bulb mode, it won't hold the shutter open. So basically I lost 2 whole frames and 4 hours of my time because I was doing 2-hour exposures for each of those on 800T. It would have been cool to get those shots, but you know, you live and you learn. It's almost as bad as making you know, the mistake of leaving a lens cap on here on a rangefinder, which I have done before, but luckily it's been a couple of years since I've done that. But the bulb mode thing has happened to me a couple times, and I just really need to be better about keeping that as part of my flight check.
That was a 1600 ISO too, it was not fuck. 16.5.
I made my way down, just following Google Maps, doing the thing, and I decided to pull over because light was hitting that morning, and there were some great little pullouts. I had some 800T still in my camera and decided to rip through it before I got into the park. So with the GL690, it actually has a shutter curtain internally. I have film loaded right now, so I'm not gonna do everything, but this little button right here will, and you'll hear it, release the shutter back behind the film so you're actually able to shoot.
Just point a camera any freaking direction here, it's crazy.
In my EOS 3 for the start of the trip, I had Kent Mirror 400 that I rated at 800 to push one stop in dev. It's just a really versatile black and white film stock that has nice rendering and contrast for what it is. I mean, it's usually like $5 to $6.50 a roll, so you really can't beat it for the price. And there's some other black and white stocks that other people have preference for, like Acros is definitely my favorite, but when it's my B camera, I don't always run more expensive film in it because I really want it to be a like supplemental thing, so where I can shoot my main work on my big camera and smaller pieces that I can envision being printed smaller around my larger work that my GL produces. When I arrived at the park, I arrived early enough that there wasn't anybody at the gate agent station, so I made my way to the visitor center to try and pay that way.
Well, I tried to pay, and the website to pay for the park is actually not working, even on like visitor Wi-Fi, so the person told me to just go into the park, so that's what we're doing.
So the first roll I ended up pulling out of the camera that day was the 800T roll, and this is before I actually got on my hike. I had wasted 3 shots trying to do star trails the night before, but I got a couple in Green River and a couple actually in Canyonlands. You can see just along the driving trail that I pulled into. That roll was rated at, I believe, 2000. It was either 1 or 2000, I'll have to double check. I typically rate 800T in increments of 500 because the base ISO of it is 500, so the shadows clean up a lot more. It's just that chemical 2/3 of stop push that they rated at 800T on the box for, and I don't always agree with that. I think it cleans up a lot nicer when you're actually rated at 500 or even 400 if you don't want to run a warming filter. It's just a stock that is, you know, meant to be color graded, so shoot it at that. And then following that same logic, I also shoot my push increments on that film stock at 1000 and 2000 respectively for a 1 or 2 stop push. And I've just found that I get great results with that. The halation looks nicer, it's a little more prominent, which is kind of what you want when you're shooting 800T. And then just having a good lab that actually knows, hey, I want these color graded to be neutral instead of just leaving them blue like they would be when you're shooting in daylight. That is another big piece of the puzzle for shooting it, either scanning yourself or otherwise. Like, it's just there, it's a neutral stock. Yes, it leans blue because it's a tungsten rated stock, but you can shoot it in the daylight, and as long as you tell your lab, hey, I shot this in the daylight, most of the time they should be able to accommodate you, and if they can't, get a better lab.
Yeah, probably brought too much film, but you know, whatever. But you never know, like, you just want a good selection. Ektar, oh, this is E100, but Ektar as well, I haven't shot in a minute, so Red Rock with this I figured would probably be good. And then I have 1 roll of Provia on 120 left. It's like a little expired, probably like, yeah, not that long, but yeah. We should hopefully get some cool stuff up here.
That's beautiful country out here. So this first roll I had loaded in my EOS 3. I actually had loaded in my camera all the way back in April, so it's been sitting in there for a while. About half of it though was Canyonlands stuff, and I think I got some great shots here. There's some road pictures or that kind of thing. Here's the collection of images from the roll that were taken in Canyonlands, and of that selection, about 15 of them I posted in different galleries and that kind of thing on Instagram. This place is so cool. I didn't take video of it, but I loaded a roll of Provia that I actually found at the store after finishing a roll of Kentmere. And I've already shot 13 shots on it because there's just so much cool shit. Like, look, this tree right here is gonna be great. I'm just gonna set the camera down and pop off because it's so cool. Sunny 16, baby. Super sick slot canyon thingy. Ooh. This is so cool. Okay, yeah, I gotta stop and get a shot here. This is just too... Gonna do a silly thing and record this descent. I think it would be cool footage. And now we have vertical incline. Let me stop down here. F22, okay. And where are we going? Over there, okay. This vista is just amazing. Can't get that view anywhere else. It's just another freaking planet. I'm gonna laugh when all this footage later is just a shaky, incoherent mess, but we're trying, okay? Looking for you, little statue thingy. Does it switch back? Oh, it goes up this way. Nice. Oh no, I see. A little more technical descent. Okay, here we go. Okay, I am actually gonna cut the camera for this one because this looks tricky. It was indeed very tricky, but we got there. Got a picture of that. Didn't get footage of me getting a picture of that, but I got a picture of it. Stood up on top of that rock. We're about 0.75 from Chesler Park, which is the destination of today's trail. After that, it's another 5 miles back, basically. So we're doing about a 10.7 today, which is not a ton when you're, used to half marathon distance, but I do have about 30 pounds worth of crap on my back today, including water and Gatorade and snacks and stuff. Okay, this is bright as hell and probably overexposed, but I'm gonna get a picture of it vertical because it just looks so good. And I'm really looking forward to the benefits of shooting slide film for stuff like this, where there's so much saturated color that nothing really handles color rendition quite like slide film, especially Provia. Ektar is okay, I wish I did actually get a roll of for my medium format, which I haven't shot a ton of just because I've been hoofing it quite a bit. But when we get to the halfway point or so, I'm gonna probably switch over and keep it up. Once we're at Chesler Park, we can do a loop and then be back the way we came. So pretty excited. Tricky stuff here. Little teeny tiny steps. Definitely a little winded, but that's okay. Still a lot of fun. Come to Canyonlands. Bring an SUV. It's a good time. Look at that drop. So cool. Okay. Guess we're going over here. Should I use the GoPro for this? Yeah, probably. But, you know, ProRes footage is pretty nice to work with in color grade. I'm gonna try out Lomography Turquoise here, because it might look interesting with the red rock. That breeze feels amazing. Guess we gotta pull out the light meter though, just in case. So, Lomography Turquoise. I guess we'll talk about that a little bit. This was actually a spur-of-the-moment decision. I bought a 3-pack at my local supplier, Essential Film Supply. They're a great shop. And I bought a 3-pack of Lomography Turquoise just because I wanted to try it out. And it seemed kind of cool, and I decided to go for it. What I didn't know is that it was going to change the trajectory of what I like to shoot a little bit. And I shot some of my best work on Lomography Turquoise this year. It gave me all of these, and I like basically every single one of these pictures. There are, 8 of them. There's definitely a standout, and it's that one. The film is actually rated at an extended range of 100 to 400, so you can set it anywhere for that. For this trip, I rated it at 400 speed, so the skies went crazy, crazy orange, and that is just the look that I wanted for it. It just pops. The red rocks on it, I love the subtle turquoise that comes in through the shrubbery and that kind of thing, and it just kind of reinvigorated what I could do with film photography for last year. I ended up shooting 3 or 4 more rolls, and I got great stuff out of every single one of them last year. And it's just definitely going to be a stock that I'm going to use moving forward. In recent times, like right now, I have Azure loaded in here, and I'm curious to see how that's going to shake out for 2026 with what it's going to look like compared to Lomography Turquoise. If it's going to be a good alternative, see if I can, do some interesting stuff with it. But I'm a little worried because I know Harman's Azure and Harman's other film stocks have had lower dynamic range than what I might be expecting with the Lomography Turquoise. So we'll have to see how it turns out, but I'm pretty curious about that in particular. Like, prop this up on so I can actually see myself a little bit. Hopefully the foreground's not too fucked on that, but let's see. What are we looking at here? 1/25 at 8.5. Okay. One of my favorite tricks to making shots look just a little more interesting is take a knee. Shooting from eye level is usually pretty boring. I take a knee just to kind of change my perspective a little bit. Shooting from eye level can be okay if you're taller or if you're shorter. Usually for me, I like to take a knee and just kind of see how the ground shapes underneath the lens. Shooting from standing height can be kind of boring. It's how we all see. I don't always like to do it every single time. It can just, I don't know, there's just more interesting ways to shoot. So I always recommend to people, especially when they're starting out, if they're finding that their images look kind of the same, it's like change your elevation. That's one of the easiest things you can do, is just like take a knee, lay down on the ground, do that dumb photographer thing. Like if you have a step ladder with you for whatever reason, if you're on like a portrait shoot or something, get up and over. Like just experiment with where you're placing your lens, because eye level is not always the best for the shot. Sometimes it's worth, before you fire the shutter, just checking your angles and seeing what's a more interesting composition. With the vertical composition especially, taking a knee or changing your elevation can actually make your shot more interesting just by moving 3 feet basically. And that's just, it makes it easier to segment things into thirds if that's how you want to do it, or fourths or whatever, but it makes it easier to break the image up and help you with layering. It allows you to set the horizon at the top or the bottom of the frame, which to quote the Fablemans, if it's not at the top or the bottom, your image is boring as shit. I decided to load Ektar next in this camera, but I think it'll do pretty well in this environment. I'm gonna finish out this roll of Fuji Provia 100 first before I switch to the Ektar, because I haven't shot this in a while, but we'll have to see how it does. So I came through that pass up and down where now we're into like sagebrush in a completely different environment. It's crazy. You just go up a hill and have a completely different outlook. Such a cool park. I figured out what the last shot of this roll was gonna be. We're bark posted, baby. So this Provia roll wasn't my favorite roll during the trip. I actually haven't posted any of this stuff because I just didn't really like how it shaped up. There's just like a big blue cast to it that isn't my favorite look. There's a few decent shots on the roll, but for such an expensive film stock, I usually expect better results, and it just didn't deliver the way I normally expect Provia to, for whatever reason. I don't know if my lens was smudged or something like that, but even on, I even tried rescanning it myself after getting lab scans back, and I just wasn't a fan of how my Provia turned out. There are a couple shots that I liked that I'll display now that, you know, they're okay. Everything else is kind of mid. Let me know what you think. If you like some of the other ones, I'll display the rest of them that I don't think are keepers. Can't see my framing at all, so I'm hoping this isn't a right shot. My hair's a fucking mess, but I need to reload. Or rather, unload one of these cameras, because EOS 3 roll of Provia is done. One of the nicest little features of this camera is it will actually leave the leader in, which makes it easier if you want to like reshoot the roll at some point. So I'll show you the leader, and that's after an automatic rewind, which is super cool. You know what? I have Pro Image that could work. Yeah, let's do Pro Image 100 because I've never shot it before and I'm mad curious about it. So that'll be up after I shoot a roll of Ektar. I just got this card bag, so I'm not in a junky Ziploc anymore, which is fun. I've been on the card bag system for a minute, and I'll probably end up turning this into a reel or something like that. I've had these for, when did I buy these? Bought these on the show. So I've had these for about 9 months now. I did a 4-pack because I had a deal going on, and the white looks great. The downside, and I knew this was gonna happen, but it gets kind of scuff marks, that kind of thing. It builds up dirt and everything. But all in all, like they're great pouches. Like you know, they're kind of overpriced. You know, you could probably go to Daiso and get some cheap pouches, that sort of thing, or whatever, you know, your budget option off of Amazon. But the construction on these is great. The zippers are nice. They have internal pockets. They have little clips. It's just a good product. So if you're looking to upgrade your storage solution in your Pelican case or your camera bag or whatever else, like these are pretty good. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on their website. I'd probably do their website. It'll take a little bit longer to ship, but you'll get better deals usually because they have sales and stuff all the time. I have my massive supply of film in this one. I usually run one with my film, and then I'll have another bag that I run as my shot film, just to keep those two things separate. So it's easier to go to the lab at the end of a trip and be like, hey, here you go. Here's all my stuff. Take my money now, please. This medium pouch will fit around 24 rolls if you stack it in a specific way, which is pretty nice. So if you want to take a ton of film with you on a trip, it's just a good option to have. You can kind of see what you have. I love the window. You can be like, you know, rotating things around, and it's just a good product for that. Like, buy them or don't. Pouches and organization are always nice to have though. So we're flipping back over to the light meter and a GL, and the EOS 3 goes back in the bag. This is a 10-mile trek, so I'm gonna probably have to hustle a little bit here if I actually want to go do some other stuff tonight, but that's okay. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna flip the camera around, backtrack a smidge, and get a shot that I think was really cool. Actually, this isn't a bad angle right here. What did my meter say? Sky's at 500th. The rock face itself is 250th at 8.5. So let's go. Yeah, we'll go for the rock face, and Ektar should have enough data retention in the highlights to give us a good exposure. Vertical most likely come off this right-hand side here, and then Yeah, maybe push up a little past these trees on the left. Yeah, really wish I had a little more reach on my medium format. This is super cool. Just this whole range. Not even looking at the screen, but I just know this is gonna be cool. In fact, yeah. Set up my camera here in 500 to 8.5. I don't even need to explain, just look. Isn't that so fucking cool? Holy shit. I'm just gonna sit on the edge and get a shot because, yeah. Wow. Split the difference. So what I just did there, I spot metered the highlights and they said they were at 508 and like 8.9, and then shadows underneath are like 1/25th and almost f11. So I'm just gonna split the difference and do it at 8.5 at 1/25th, and that will give us an even exposure like across the whole range. Frame up here, this is just phenomenal. It's just cheating being at this location. You just point your camera in any direction, it almost gives you like a good shot. Like even to my left here, I see another shot. 8.5, 1/25. Yeah, same exposure over there. So I need to focus a little closer. It's not quite infinity. Those clouds in the background are just gonna pop like crazy too. This is, God, so cool. I just gotta say, it is crazy that the trail just descends. Am I gonna film that? Fuck no. That's way too technical to do that. I'm gonna take a little break and adjust my sock here. Okay, I'm gonna do one more shot on this GL and then retire it for a little bit. We're at 5 miles right now. So I think I'm gonna head to the end of whatever this is and head back, because I think we're nearing our halfway point. We're at 1 o'clock today, so I'm making decent time, but I've been at it 4 hours. No, 3 hours. I'm on track for 6 hours. Maybe a little faster if I scooch back a little quicker. Let's take that last shot. How's it going? Pretty good. Taking a break in the shade.
Getting some good pics.
Oh yeah, I hope so. You know, some of it's filmed, so we'll see. It's coming back. So yeah, I guess I've shot 4 rolls so far, which is pretty good, I think. Yeah. I got to a certain point and then burned out the rolls that were in my camera, unloaded everything, and started booking it back, you know. And you can see that in the graph on my Garmin, because I tracked that whole hike. Yeah, it was pretty good though. I got back to my campsite, I took a shower, popped down to the Moab Diner, and I had a chili verde burger with an Oreo milkshake. It was fantastic. I just decided not to shoot any more that night, even though I was going to originally. There's some really cool signage in Moab. I really needed to make another trip down there and maybe do arches, more Canyonlands, actually do the driving trail, that kind of thing. But I did not end up doing any of that because I was really tired. I had a great hit rate on this trip. Shot a decent amount of rolls. I think it was like 6 or 7 total. Yeah, it was just it was just good to get out there, and it was my first trip of the year, and I found a new way of shooting, a new stock, I guess, that is sort of an identity of mine now. I really want to do more on Lomography Turquoise, maybe Harman Azure. We'll have to see how it shakes out. It was just a great trip, a great start to 2025 last year, and I had a blast, just an absolute blast going to Canyonlands. My biggest surprise for the year was just how Lomography Turquoise ended up. It was just a wonderful film stock. It's a direct alternative for me to black and white. I just love how it renders contrast, and you can change a scene, you can just flip it on its head with just shooting it on something different. You know, there have been color channel swaps in digital, and I've never really gotten into that side of editing, but just having a film stock that does it for you right from the get-go is super, super nice. My biggest disappointment on the trip was absolutely the roll of Provia, because that roll is, you know, $30, $36, depending where you buy it. And I just didn't get that many shots out of it. It was just, it had the more of a blue overcast, kind of like E100, and I just don't know what was wrong with it. Like, I just didn't get as much good stuff as I expected from Provia. I've shot some incredible things on Provia before. It just didn't shake out how I wanted it to, which is a bummer, because it is, you know, there's only so much of it left. We don't know how long we're gonna be able to shoot Provia, so anytime you get a miss on it, it kind of hurts a little bit, because it's expensive to shoot, it's expensive to buy, it's expensive to dev, and it's hard to shoot too. It's only 5.5 stops of dynamic range, so, you know, I thought it being full sun, it'd probably be okay, but I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of shoot Provia and better lighting. That's the moral of the story for today, is shoot it in better lighting. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested in looking at any of the gear that I use to shoot this stuff, it'll be all down in the description below. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
To our photo quest, our Eber train.
And then just a little, like a crook of a smile. Thank you. That's perfect. And the finest hooker in town.